Hello, America and the world. Welcome back to Life After Lockup. This is the Edwin Chandler story. We just finished the first half, and this is the second half of the story. For those of you that might be just watching the second half, there was a murder at a gas station in Louisville in '93. He was arrested, went to trial in '95, spent almost 10 years in prison. Got out and fought for his exoneration. We were just talking about how he survived in that situation, and I'd ask him a question about giving up, and that's kind of like where we left off. And I just kind of want to start back up in that area. I want you to welcome back with me on the second half, Brother Edwin Chandler. And man, you were saying something even in the break that you couldn't just die once you went to sleep.
Right.
you had to wake up.
Yeah.
And so once you woke up, you just try to survive every day.
Correct.
And that's basically, I guess, the only answer anybody can give, unless you do something to yourself,
Right.
which is what I was about to do. Do something to myself. But then, you know, God helped me in that situation, helped me to survive.
Exactly.
So I don't think a lot of times people don't have they realize that they can't do anything to themselves, so they have to just survive, and that's what you did.
Exactly.
Now I want to get into this because I know the horror that prison life has, and I think most people anybody that has gone there know that it's a horrific place. It's a whole
Yes.
different world. You have to do
Yes.
what you got to do to survive.
Yes.
And you made it. You made parole. You got out, but you wanted to fight for your freedom.
Yes. Totally.
And that is something to me that is very powerful, because a lot of guys probably get out innocent and they just let it go.
Correct.
But you wanted to fight for your freedom, not only for your benefit, but in hopes that nobody else would have to go through that.
Exactly.
Now I want to find out what made this thing so interesting and so powerful for you as far as getting exonerated. Why? What was it? Was it the evidence? Was it this? I know we were talking on the break about a detective. I want you to kind of give me some information about this detective. Now, this is the one that basically coerced you in a sense to confess. Is this
Yes,
the same one?
that's
okay.
correct.
So what was the thing about him that helped you to basically get exonerated?
Well, it was sheer diligence by the metro government that we have in Louisville now.
Okay.
And the reason being, I had a lot of help at this. This is not like
A one-man thing.
Yes.
Right. Good.
This was
good.
a lot of help across the board in this. When I got out, a few years after I got out, I had already submitted a questionnaire and things to the Kentucky Innocence Project.
Right.
And they had contacted me. And Marguerite Thomas,
Okay.
she was the director of the Kentucky Innocence Project, called me and asked basically if I wanted to pursue it.
Right.
Excuse me, and I told her sure.
Yes.
And she came down. Her and an associate of hers came down to Louisville and met with me. We went over a lot of different things, and the biggest thing was the physical evidence.
Right.
And they jumped right on it immediately. And for, I guess, the better part of maybe 2 years, they weren't able to find the bottle and the hair samples to retest them, because technology had grown so much now. And these people, this is what they do for a living. They work with college students around the country, not just in Kentucky, but around the country.
Right.
And these students are very, very good at what they do because they have the right training in what they're doing. And the people who are doing the training are the right people because they've been trained right.
Good.
Very good. So it took a lot for the Kentucky Innocence Project to cover ground in this and to make headway in this. There was an investigator with the Kentucky Innocence Project that I was working with, and he had got a hold to Detective Sergeant Denny Butler from the Metro Police Cold Case Department.
Okay, cold case department.
And Sergeant Butler took this case, and I mean, he did police work like you would expect to be done, you know. And once again, not taking anything away from him credibility-wise,
Right.
but he did his job.
Good. I see what you're saying. He did his job. What they were hired to do, what they were supposed to do in the first place.
He didn't just do his job. A lot of times, like when I go to work now, sometimes I may be tired.
I see what you're saying.
Because I have children, and you know, being parents is
Of course,
how we do.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm at work, you know, I may be tired, and I don't put 100% effort into my job. You know, but this cop put 100% effort into this case every day that he worked on it, and he went and found the hair samples and the beer bottle that were supposedly misplaced for several years through email, through phone call, through personal visits that the Kentucky Innocent Project had made to the Louisville Metro to obtain this evidence, coming up short every time. Once Detective Butler got involved, I mean, things just changed, and you know, he gathered all the evidence, and we had it retested, and the test proved me innocent. Not to mention, it didn't just prove me innocent, it showed actually who committed the crime. It's the biggest key in this whole case. You know, a lot of guys that are exonerated based on the evidence that proves them innocent.
But does not point the finger.
Exactly. So in that right, that makes this case very unique from that standpoint, because they have the guy. He's arrested now. He's locked up now, which is great. So Denny Butler did a lot of the work, a lot of the legwork. Him and the staff that he had working with him did a lot of the legwork, and from that point, then the Kentucky Innocence Project took over, and took back over, and got things together for court proceedings and all of that. So in 2009, October 13, 2009, that's my son's birthday actually, I was exonerated for murder and robbery.
Okay, when it comes to the injustice about this case, what do you feel like was the most unjust thing that happened to you personally that you would not want to happen to anybody? Not just an innocent man going to prison, but how you ended up getting there. If you were to just name the most unjust thing that happened to you in this thing.
I think that this case is so unique in the standpoint that I can't answer that question with just one answer.
Okay, give me two.
Because there's more than one instance in this that there were a lot of things that happened in this case that just shouldn't have happened. From beginning with the conduct or the misconduct of the detective, the original detective that interrogated me. Because without that, you don't have the systematic problems that happened afterwards.
Exactly. As far as threatening your family and things of that nature.
So to begin, I think it falls on the training of the officers and the detectives. As time passes, things change. So the training should change.
Exactly.
You shouldn't hold training for, if I take CPR class, I can't take a CPR class and be trained forever. My CPR course doesn't last forever. I have to be retrained.
Exactly. Do you feel like maybe not only the training, but the personal mentality of the interrogator?
Yes, I mean, definitely. But that's something that I don't think that it would be hard to determine in an individual, you know, because you can't just go inside a person's mind to say, well, this is a bad person because I feel like you would do this to this person if it, you know, if it came about, you know.
Right.
You have to just wait on the situations to happen and unfold to see how people react and act in situations, you know. So with this particular detective, I have a lot of raw emotion still.
Right.
About him personally.
Right. Right.
Because to me, he was the root of it.
Right.
There was some other things that happened after him.
Right.
Without him, you know, this really wouldn't be, you know, so to say that I'm still upset would be an understatement.
I understand.
Actually.
I understand. Because now, do you feel like that he just could care less about you as a person, or could care less about who was innocent or guilty, or he just didn't care, period?
I just really don't think he cared, period, you know, one way or another, whether it was, whether he felt like I did it or didn't do it, or whether, you know, I just don't think he really cared, you know, because the things that happened in the first night that this detective checked this case out, he erased the videotape from the surveillance tape from the Chevron station, you know.
Now this surveillance tape, I didn't remember reading that. This surveillance tape could have shown who the person was.
Yes.
And he erased it?
Yes, he erased the most critical parts of the tape as well. He didn't just erase, you know, just a
portion of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And but that was in court, that was deemed to be a mistake.
Okay.
You know, but how can it be a mistake, you know, because you're dealing with people's lives.
Exactly.
You don't just have a job that, like a fast food restaurant, you're not a, you know, you're a public servant.
Right, exactly, exactly.
And there's a lot that goes into that, you know, being a public servant.
Exactly.
You know.
Because people's lives are at stake.
Exactly.
It's not just one individual life. If he messed up your life, he also messed up the lives of the people that you are in touch with.
Exactly.
And that, I think that's the thing that bothers me, is you don't care. And you'll ruin a man's life, send a man to prison for nothing, and sleep at night. These are the things that bothers me, and I think that one of the things that I definitely want to bring out in this show is that we cannot be so confident in our public servants that we don't think that they are capable of doing wrong.
Exactly, because they're individuals, they're people. Before they put on their uniform and become a detective or become whatever, you know, mayor, judge, whatever, you know, you're still a person. You're a man or you're a woman, and humanity takes hold regardless of your title.
Exactly.
You know, so just with this particular officer, I'm just still very bitter behind it, but I've been able to move on, you know.
And have you seen him, I mean, personally since then?
Yes, I have. Actually, he still works for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department.
Really? Even after all of this?
He's a deputy sheriff.
Wow.
He still continues to carry a gun and a badge.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
And,
does he, is anything supposed to happen to him as far as his job? I mean, after finding out what he did and after exonerating you based on what he did?
Hopefully the government, the local government, takes this very serious, you know, as serious as you could be, because they prosecuted me for this to the fullest extent of the law.
Right.
So why shouldn't he be held accountable for the same?
Exactly. And the thing about it, here's the key to this. Just like a pedophile, don't just have one victim.
Exactly.
You know,
how many times has this happened? Right.
Exactly. How many times has it happened? How many people are sitting in prison right now crying innocence that ran through him?
Exactly.
And I think things like that really do need to be taken a look at.
Exactly.
Because here, like you said, a public figure that can affect people's lives, and he affected yours.
Yes.
Fortunately, you survived it by the help of God. But how are you doing mentally and emotionally now?
Well, mentally and emotionally, I'm scarred. You know, I think anyone would probably be, after dealing with almost 20 years of turmoil. You know, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I have anxiety. I have depression.
Wow.
I'm being treated by a therapist and a psychiatrist. You know, so this is, you know, really affected my life. You know, I don't know if I don't know if these things are, if I'm capable of growing out of these things. You know, so it's difficult. You know, daily I still have to deal with these things daily.
Exactly. Do you have nightmares as far as, you know, still dreaming that you're still there, or just nightmares in general about
Yes,
this?
I do. I have nightmares. I have sometimes bad nightmares. You know, I have what they call blackouts. You know, because sometimes it's just overwhelming. You know, I've had to deal with this for almost 20 years. You know, and I've thought about it like every day for that long. You know,
Wow.
so it's difficult not to think about it.
So when you say blackout, that means that the overwhelming emotions of this whole thing just cause you to shut down. I don't know, but whatever it is, it ain't. It's caused by all the trauma that you've gone through, and all of that to me should be taken into consideration for exoneration, or for making sure that this doesn't happen again. But how can they? What is it that you would think that they need to do? The system. When I say they, the system, not just the system in Kentucky. We're talking about the America's criminal justice system, because you're just one person.
Exactly.
And your case came to the forefront along with other cases that the Innocent Project, and thank God for the Innocent Project.
Thank God for the
You know,
Innocence Project.
because they are helping to clear the names of a whole lot of people.
Yes.
But then one thing that I do know, you can never get that time back.
No.
You know, you can never get it back. Even though they clear your name, even though they clear your record, that's a lot of time there that you cannot get back. So what is it that you feel like that the criminal justice system needs to do, or the government needs to do about this system that we have?
I think first they need to change the training and the policy and procedure behind, you know, the procedure in which they investigate cases, and the way that they interrogate people. You know, all of that should be looked at, you know, with a fine-tooth comb. You know, and then they need to change some laws. You know, there are some laws that need to be changed, because in my situation, there was nothing left for me to do or to receive other than to file a civil lawsuit. We don't have a compensation law here.
Wow.
I think there are 16 other states in America today that hold a compensation law. Florida is one. And that would negate legal costs. It would negate taxpayer money being spent, you know, because some of these cases are settled for millions of dollars. And actually my case just settled a couple of weeks ago, you know, and it was for a lot of money. And but the money money's not going to help me to go back to obtain anything that I've left behind.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that we talked about Saturday, I believe it was Saturday, you had mentioned that the prosecutors are immune or something like that. What is
Yes,
that?
yes. Most prosecutors hold immunity.
Right.
Prosecutors and judges hold immunity, and this is something else. Like I said, the laws need to change. I really feel like that in this situation, in situations alike, where you have police misconduct and,
Right.
and prosecutorial misconduct,
right. They need to be held accountable.
They need to be held accountable, fully accountable for their actions.
Wow. And because they're not held accountable, they really have no limitations on them.
Exactly.
And that is just not good power to give to a man.
Exactly.
You know, because it shows you that a lot of times power without discipline results to people like you.
Yes.
In your case.
Exactly.
And to say that they are that they have immunity, nothing can happen to them. So what? That means they can do anything.
Basically, yes.
And if they can do anything, then there are going to be more cases like yours. And there are a lot of cases like yours.
Yes.
There are cases where men and women have to go face the death penalty because of prosecutorial misconduct or police mishandling of cases and things, but they don't find out about them until after they're dead.
Yes, it's too
and
late.
these people get to walk free to the park with their families. They get to go to church and act like they're okay, and they sleep at night. How do people destroy people's lives and sleep at night?
How could you hold one individual human for a crime, but not hold another for a crime?
Thank you.
You know, these are the things I feel like need to change in America, period.
Exactly. Because if you give these people, if you make them responsible for what they do, they'll be a whole lot more careful about who they prosecute and how they prosecute and what they do to get convictions.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times, and it has shown, I've read a lot of these stats for the Innocent Project, where there were a lot of percentages was prosecutorial misconduct. A lot of the percentages was police mishandling of evidence.
Yes.
Hiding some, keeping some away. These are things that people do to get convictions. I mean, is it just a political thing? Is it racial? Is people just don't care? You have maniacs in the system that have position. I mean, because here you are, a situation where a man just took it upon himself just to erase the tape, hide evidence, just to threaten you and your family, just to get a conviction.
For the numbers.
For the numbers. And you have evidence that could have proved that that you were innocent, but it's not taken into consideration.
Correct.
So it's really not to find out the truth as much as it is to get a conviction.
Exactly. And then the conviction numbers turn into re-elections.
Exactly. And here's the bad part about all of this. A person that's concerned about misconduct in the prison system can't really run for office and tell you his concerns. He won't get elected.
Exactly.
Everybody running for office got to say, we're going to lock him up and throw away the key.
Exactly.
Because the public is oblivious to your kind of situation. That's why I'm so adamant trying to get stories like yours out to the public so that the public can be aware. And maybe they will hold some of these people responsible and accountable. Because just like it happened to you, it could happen to their sons.
Exactly.
It could happen to them as well.
Exactly.
Because if they want you, they can get you.
Exactly.
And should not be the way it is.
No, it shouldn't be, but I mean, that's, excuse me. What I really focus on now is my choices and decisions. They've taken me a long way, you know.
Right.
And no matter what situation I come up against, I feel like even if it's just a bad situation in a bad situation, you have to make the best choice out of the two bads.
Wow.
You know, and so that's just how I live now. You know, I try not to go overboard into thinking about how this man's thinking or how this man's thinking. I, focus on me and how I think.
Right, and in your situation, just like, and I guess with me, when I got out of prison, a couple of years later, I just kind of poured myself into just complaining in a sense, talking about it, bringing up things like this, trying to get people to see some things. And I guess as far as you're concerned, do you want to do anything or to continue on this path of trying to trying to keep yourself focused, but yet shine some light on the system as well? Is that kind of like your aim?
Yes, exactly. I speak, try to do motivational speaking as much as possible. Try to, talk to, especially to the youth in my community. These things are very important to me. Trying to write a book, going to write a book, and hopefully my life develops maybe in the entertainment field, because these issues are important to me, and I know that these issues are not going to end today.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I believe that because we have less than 2 minutes now, I really, I'm hoping that you will continue. And I know you have two things here. It seems like that you're dealing with. You're trying to stay focused, and you're also trying to bring light to your situation to keep it from happening to anybody else.
Yes.
And man, I'm praying for you, and I'm believing that God's going to help you to accomplish every dream that you've dreamed. I'm believing God's going to help you to accomplish that. And blessings on your book. I believe that you're going to do it, and it's going to bless people, and it's going to also open more doors for you. So I really appreciate you coming on the program, sharing your story, and I'm believing that it's going to really help a lot of people. So our time is about up, man, and I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you, man. I'm really impressed at your growth and at how you're dealing with everything. And you just keep fighting and stay on the right path. And you can't ever go wrong by doing right.
Most definitely.
All right. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching this story, the Edwin Chandler story. Thank you for always looking at life after lockup. God bless you, and you have a marvelous day.